FT Live is back. There you go. Our director, AJ Przynski, is here. Eric Kratz is dancing. Jason Kipnis is chilling. Scotty Braun with you as well. And Keith Law from The Athletic joining us right now, who is probably on super low sleep. And you can read all of his articles in The Athletic. Also, DVR and Law, great podcast you can listen to on prospects, draft, the whole deal. Keith, I'm a fan for years. Great to actually, I think it's the first time you and I have actually spoken on air together. So great to see you. How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Very good. Thoughts first, just big picture, wherever you want to go on the draft yesterday. Surprises, how you thought things played out. Obviously, top 5 was very distinct talent-wise, and it played out that way.
Yeah, it was pretty chalk, actually, which doesn't usually happen. God, last year, I don't know if folks remember, but at the draft, it was literally the third pick. The Rangers took Kumar Rocker, and you could hear everybody go, whoa, right? At that point, it was just like everything blew up. There were so many unexpected picks. There were players I didn't even have in my top 100 going in the first. And so, but I think that generally like 1 through 30, 1 through 35-ish, it was kind of expected. This was a really deep draft class. It was a really deep draft class for college players especially, and that really came through at least in the first round plus, where we saw teams just grab those guys before they could come off the board and then choose to spend more money later on.
Well, it makes sense. If you have 5 players that are clearly above everybody, it should go chalk. Just It was a question of what order, right? And then after that is kind of when the chaos kind of kicked in, because we didn't know who was going to take who or who was going to do what.
But remember, Kyle Glazer from Baseball America was saying at one point yesterday that like the Pirates were talking to a number of picks to see if anyone would go under slot.
Yeah, but it was those 5 guys they were talking to. It's not like they were talking to some guy that got drafted in the 3rd round.
I know, but I still hate, I don't know how you feel, Keith, but I hate that process. I get it. Like, I don't think it's good for the sport, for fans that are following the draft, to be like, the Pirates, instead of talking about just like their decision on who the most talented player is to pick, is like, can we mess around with slot money? Because most fans don't understand all that shit, and they're like, are the Pirates being cheap with their first pick? I don't like that part of the process.
By the way, if we can swear, that's like the best news.
Keith,
for me
this is your place to shine,
Fucking
baby. This is why I left MLB, so that I can say whatever the fuck I want.
I agree with you in principle that, it's the last thing we want to see is the guy who goes first overall is nowhere near, not even in the discussion for the best player in the draft. The thing is that didn't happen this year, right? Paul Skenes has the best shit I've ever personally seen from a college starter, at least in terms of velocity. Sitting 100, holding it deep into games. I saw Cole, I saw Strasburg, I saw Price, I saw Mize, and I liked all those guys. And some of them had better full arsenals, but Skenes' fastball is the best I've ever seen. It's just straight velocity from a college starter.
But the spin rate isn't as good, Keith. So how can you say that? The spin rate doesn't
carry
play.
on the heater?
It's a slow 100.
Do I detect a hint of sarcasm?
A lot of sarcasm, because it's still 102, 120 pitches in.
He's not perfect yet, Keith. What the hell?
No. And I don't know if you guys have seen, I'm sure you've seen some video, right? But I was a couple rows behind the plate at the box, and you don't see the ball till really late. And so you could see these Alabama hitters that was the night I was there. They were either you're sitting fastball or you're trying to sit slider, but you're just deciding way too early, and you get a lot of really ugly swings. And especially, I don't think Skenes going to spend a lot of time in A-ball. I'd probably just have him at least start next year in AA Altoona. But if they do, hey, go take a couple turns in A-ball, just get your feet wet, you're going to see a lot of really ridiculous box scores, because these hitters are they're not going to be able to see the ball in time to react to it.
You saw LSU versus Alabama?
I was at the game.
Is that the game that
game
Alabama coach
called his buddy, right? Yep, I was at that game.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
I'm not going to make any accusations. So, fun fact, that was the Brad Bohannon, if I believe. It was the recruiting coordinator at Kentucky who recruited me into college.
Oh, no shit.
So that's a small story I'm going to piece together for you.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah,
it all came
that
together.
Was the game.
Did he bet on you?
That game sounded familiar. What?
Did he bet on you?
He did bet on me because he recruited me. So a metaphorical bet, if you will.
Yes.
Keith, there's no way. Okay, I don't know where the other affiliates are for the Pirates, Altoona's, where's AAA? Indianapolis still?
Indianapolis.
I love that he
Greensboro.
turns to Kratz.
Cold weather, yeah. I mean,
I should know.
Yeah,
Cold
no,
weather.
Shine, buddy.
Yeah.
Cold weather.
That's why I'm here.
Yep.
Altoona, I don't know if you've ever been there, but that place is cold weather.
Altoona?
Sucks.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been
well,
there a
I
couple
wasn't going to say
times.
that. Cold weather. I don't know. They have to have a Florida State League team, right? Maybe in Bradenton. I don't know if they
Florida
still.
State League's low
that's
A
low A.
But still,
And
they're
high
gonna
A is
want-
Greensboro.
Greensboro. Okay, they're not going to
It's
start
better.
him in Double A because of the weather. Watch.
Just the
That'll
weather?
be their
Okay,
excuse.
that's fair.
Because they will say, oh, we don't want him to get pitched in the cold weather to start, so we're going
Right.
to start in Bradenton or the other one you said.
Greensboro.
Greensboro.
Yeah.
Because the weather will
Or
hopefully
Pittsburgh.
be warmer. Well, Pittsburgh would be the best stop, but they won't do
Yeah,
that.
seriously. I hear
But
it's
you see
cold
what I'm-
there, though. You can't,
see,
you
it's
can't pitch in
freezing.
there.
But you see what I'm saying, Keith? They're going to want
Yeah.
him to start and have success. They're not going to send him to Altoona where it could be 27 degrees and
Yeah.
snowing. They're going to send him to Bradenton where it'll be 85 and sunny and go out and dominate some 18-year-old kids and say, oh, look how good our first
Look how
round
good.
overall pick is.
It's all about controlling and managing not just the player, but the perception, right? Like you said, you do not want your number one pick to go out and get his ass handed to him. You don't want your number one pick to go out and he's only throwing 96 because it's cold out. And then it's Paul Skenes is broken. Did they do something wrong? Is he hurt? Did the Pirates just screw this up? I totally agree with you. It makes a ton of sense. I wonder if they would just start him in Greensboro, right? It's warmer. It's not warm, but it's warmer in April. It's a great spot. It's a great ballpark. You know, they actually draw. The one thing with the Florida State League, you guys know, nobody goes, right? So he could go pitch in front of like 20 people. You send him to Greensboro, too. You make the affiliate happy. I live in Wilmington, Delaware. I'm like, send Dylan Cruz there. I don't care if it's a week. Just give me one homestand. I will hype the shit out of this because it's 10 minutes from my house. Of course I want to go see him. I know it'll make the Blue Rocks owner happy, even if he's there for, like I said, for 6 games.
You soft West Coast or Southern State guys who just couldn't play in April or anything like that. We'd never played in anything below 60-degree weather before.
He played in a dome. He made his debut
knows.
with
He
the team in a dome.
Yeah.
But he also sat in
Dude,
Florida.
I froze my ass off in Fort
I was
Wayne,
just gonna say,
Chicago.
Britain,
You put in your
Salt
time.
Lake
Chicago.
City,
Chicago.
Chicago. I mean, I'm talking. He's talking. He only talks minor leagues.
I know.
Listen, I froze my ass off in Fort Wayne, Indiana, freaking Appleton, Wisconsin in April. That ain't very. That
He
ain't
was
exactly warm.
the only kid in the Florida State League who was like, "This doesn't suck.
Exactly.
I lived here."
Gulf Coast League, dude. When I signed, I went to the Gulf Coast League.
Oh, the Gulf
we had
Coast
these
League.
dudes.
You're
the
going
Gulf
up to the next
Roast League.
level. Aww.
Yeah, we had these dudes in the Gulf Roast League that were from like Wisconsin and up north, Minnesota, and they couldn't make it 2 innings because they're red, they're
Get
dead,
heat
and I'm
stroke.
like, I'm ready for another game. What's wrong with you guys? I had no idea. They're putting in ice baths and ice. I'm like, dude, let's go.
Keith, I gotta go ahead.
Go. I was just going to say, I remember doing Instructs when I lived in Arizona. I would just go out to Instructs games too. And I mean, you can see how pale I am, right? I'm not built for that. It's like still 100 degrees in September. You're under a broiler. I was at Camelback where at that point, the trees hadn't even grown in yet. So there's no hiding. Players are dropping, scouts are dropping. I'm like, what the fuck do we play baseball here in the middle of the day? Just do it at night.
Yeah,
You could
do
see
it.
like nobody was adjusting.
Nobody was getting better. If you if you put an over/under without knowing how many starts Strasburg had in the minor leagues, does Skeen have more or less than Strasburg had?
So Strasburg, I remember because I went to Altoona for his Double-A debut, which I think was like his regular season debut because he pitched in the fall league.
Yep.
And then he went to Double-A.
Yep.
So he was only there like 2 months, right? It was probably like 8 to 10 starts.
11.
I bet you. Oh, okay. So
Nailed it.
do
Not
I
a grinder.
Yeah, that's why I get paid the medium bucks. Do I think Skenes does more or less than that? I bet you he does less than that.
Less.
Yeah.
Could
I
he
like
just
that.
jump? Could he just jump to Pittsburgh? Would they do that?
They won't do it. They won't do
They
it.
won't.
Could he?
There's no way they'll do that for control reasons, right?
Yeah.
They're going to
Yeah.
want to push off the free agency. But if he does what we all think he's going to do, right, they're going to bring him to the big leagues pretty quickly.
Is he going to pitch this year in minor leagues or the fall league?
I bet you, I don't think he makes a start the rest of the summer. Just because college starters now, because the draft is late, they just don't pitch over the summer anymore, ever. Or they make like one token start, which is, I don't even know why you bother. But he might pitch in fall league. We've had some guys do that, which again, selfishly, I always go to fall league. So I usually go for the first or second week to see those guys before they get sent home. So I'm hoping he goes out there. And I think that's good. Most players I talk to like the fall league. They like going out there. And so, that's, to me, that's also a great, you go out there with one of your coaches who's on the coaching staff, so somebody gets to know you, and it's pretty low pressure. Just a chance to pitch somewhere first. So I'm a big advocate of it. And the Pirates usually send their guys. Like Quinn Priester, he missed some time last year due to injury, so he was out in fall league. Henry Davis was out in fall league. The Pirates aren't one of those clubs that's fuck the fall league. We're never sending any prospects. They actually do send their guys out there. So I hope he goes out there. Maybe he makes 3 starts and then starts next year no lower than AA.
Makes it more impressive hearing the Mike Leakes who skip the entire minor leagues.
It's so few.
If a guy with 100 in his repertoire of Skenes is not going to do that, but
yeah.
Lee can go straight there.
It also depends on the organization, too. I mean, some organizations won't do that.
That's what he's saying. The timing, if the Pittsburgh's not going to be good, there's no reason to start him.
Right.
Well, if this were the Nationals, right, there's no question he's in the big leagues by June 1st of next year, right? They're going to put Dylan Cruz is going to move real fast. Rizzo is not afraid to push guys. Strasburg was in the majors in the year. I think Bryce was in the majors in 2 years. If you are good and you're famous, he'll move you up. I remember seeing famous. Once, and there's no question that matters for
you never made it. No, you weren't famous enough.
Yeah,
that's what I needed.
Seeing Juan Soto in he was with Potomac, but it was high A, and saying, I don't know this guy's going to get there that fast. And 6 weeks later, he was in the big leagues. So the Nationals, that's just who they are. I respect it. I don't know that I have the balls to do what they do if I were running player development or running a big league club, but they've had pretty good track record. I don't know if I could name a guy the Nats rushed to the point that it actually hurt him as a player.
That's my big thing. I like it. I think there's more pros than cons to rushing players up. Worst case, you send them back down. They figure it out. It's fine. Most guys are not going to be that affected. Let me mix in a couple. I mean, we got the YouTube chat's buzzing right now. So TJ said, can we get Keith's thoughts on Chase Davis pick to St. Louis at 21? Some are saying best hitter in the draft. Who's saying that?
Who's saying that? Some people say. Okay. Yeah, your 60-year-old uncle on Facebook. Yeah. He thinks Olive Garden is fancy.
What's Todd's uncle's name? Uncle Rob?
John Mazzelak called and told me.
Yes, right. This is right.
He was the best hitter in the draft. Do you like the player, though?
I do.
Okay.
I was kind of – so I saw Davis back in March and against Jacob Wilson, actually. And even at the time, I was like, why isn't this guy a first-rounder? Not a high first-rounder, but this is exactly the kind of player who goes in the last 5 to 10 picks of the first round. He's reasonably athletic. He definitely had bat speed. He hit for power. He made a huge adjustment at the plate. I love players who do that, who actually you see them get better. He was a sophomore, punched out way too much. He made small changes to his swing, not small changes, I think, to his actual approach, to when he was choosing to swing and what he was laying off of. And the numbers across the board got better this year. He might be a corner outfielder in time, but I even said in my note yesterday on our live blog that the Cardinals have taken a lot of outfielders who were iffy in center and made them better. So, they did this with Bader, who became elite in center. They did this. Dylan Carlson did not look like a center fielder out of the draft, and he's definitely a center fielder now. So I give Davis more of a chance to stick there, too. So I thought it was a great pick. And just a personal favorite of mine, of all the players I saw this spring, he was one who always stuck out to me as, I think I like this guy more than the consensus. But it turns out the consensus was actually right where it should be.
Dodger questions rolling in, so I'll just give you dealer's choice. So Javier saying, what did the Dodgers see in Kendall George? EZ saying, has Keith seen the Dodgers AA pitching staff in Tulsa? Which one's legit? So you can do all of the above. You can go wherever you want here.
Yeah, the Dodgers draft so far is the head scratcher for me. They took a couple of guys who, I know who these guys are. They weren't on my rankings for a reason. Kendall George can really, really run. There's no power there. I mean, 30 power, and it's not a great build. I don't think he's not a big guy who you think is going to come into some power. Switch hitter, where if I remember correctly, it was the right-handed swing, probably still needs a lot of work. You take that guy in the third round, but he was their first pick at 36 overall, and I am just not sure what they see, what do you think this guy's going to grow up to be in 3 or 4 years? I recognize the Dodgers are awesome at what they do. You could lose a lot of money betting against them in the draft or player development, but that was one, and I think it was their third rounder, Brady Smith, high school pitcher out of Tennessee, whose stuff really kind of went down over the course of the spring. So another one where it's like, if you want to take that guy, fine. But I'm thinking of who's still on the board. When you take those players, you leave a lot of value out there. Could you get Kendall George a little later in the draft? Could you get Brady Smith in the 4th or 5th round and take a better player instead?
That's fascinating to me. Because it's the Dodgers, too. It's not like we're talking about a team that's done a really poor job of developing prospects. The Dodgers are up there among the best, right? I mean,
yes,
they haven't been able to pick towards the top of the draft in how long has it been, right?
Right, and they still find guys
yeah.
consistently, picking in the back half of the first round or not in the first round at all, like this year. They were in the comp round, and they still generally find guys. Dalton Rushing was a 2nd rounder, I think, last year because they got pushed back, and now he's one of the top 5 catching prospects in all of baseball. So they do a great job. But this multiple picks this year where even just chatting with scouts, like, what the hell are the Dodgers doing? It's they've just gone completely off the rails. No one else I talk to really understands what the strategy is there, because it also just doesn't look like a Dodgers draft. Usually you can look at them and say, yeah, I know what they're doing there. I know what things they're targeting, what types of players, what characteristics they like. This year I can't figure that out so far.
They're saving money for Ohtani. That's just the standard Dodgers answer. I ask people this a lot. If you go back and you look at Jason Kipnis' career,
yeah,
and if you were told before the draft, obviously this is super hypothetical, based on his career, should he have been a 1-1?
And he wasn't even a first rounder, right?
No.
He was like a 3rd or 4th rounder, I think. Was he a 2nd rounder?
Kip's right here.
Second, yeah.
2nd rounder.
We got to find those scouting reports that were made for us.
Because I remember seeing at Arizona State after transferring, right? I think we even talked at one point because there was the whole leaving Kentucky.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. And God, I remember God, that's a long time ago. We're getting old, guys.
I know.
Yeah.
Keith, we don't even bring up my scouting report because you weren't even. It was still, they had to type it into the.
Yeah, that's right.
Type it in.
It was
they wrote
carrier
it.
Pigeon, right?
They wrote it out.
Yeah. He's like, wait, you were drafted?
You guys missed it on Friday. Todd Frazier, we were talking to Jim Callis, and Todd Frazier's like, everyone said I had a hitch in my swing. Fuck
he
you
did.
guys. Yeah.
What he said?
He's like, look at me now, baby. He is. He keeps receipts.
Mad.
Todd keeps receipts as well as anyone. And he was like barking at him.
He came after me on Twitter. He's like, you always said I had a hitch in my swing.
He did have a hitch.
You did have a hitch. You're just really fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always say to players like that, anytime it's like, dude, good for you. Prove me wrong. Prove all the scouts wrong. That's awesome. I would much rather have that happen. I say a guy's got this flaw or that problem and the guy's good versus I say the guy's good and it doesn't work out. That sucks. Nobody wants to see a player fail. If you want to see a player fail, get the hell out of this business. There's plenty of guys who would you have to like players to do what I do, to do what scouts do, to do what coaches do. You must have the mindset that you like players. So like Todd Frazier, because his brother also had the same kind of swing and never really got around it too. So when Todd came along, it's like, oh, is this going to be just like Jeff? Are we going to see the same thing? The fact that Todd had a long, very successful career, even with the hitch in his swing, good for him. To me, that's an awesome story.
That is awesome.
Famous.
Yeah,
he was famous.
But
he was very famous.
The comp right now is, because I listened to your show the other day, JJ Bleday.
Yep. Another hitch guy. Yep. Big time.
And right now he hasn't figured that out yet.
No. And I always, it's funny, my mentor when I was at the Blue Jays, I'll name check Tony LaCava. He's been there forever. When I was first, he's one of the best. Just a great human and taught me so much about not just scouting or development, but just life. And when I was first learning how to scout, I'm like, do you sort of cross a guy off for this? Do you kill a guy for this? He said, there's nothing about a player that's a kill, right? Oh, he's got a hitch in his swing. It's just a factor. It's just one thing you've got to weigh, and that might count against him. But then you look, can he get around that? Does he still hit despite that? Can he get to velocity? Can he get to changing speeds? Do not go in with the mindset that you're looking for one factor that just knocks a guy out. I'll give you an example from this year. One of the 3 Seattle guys from the first round, Johnny Farmello, he bars his lead arm And the swing is so manufactured at this point where clearly he got with some coach who was trying to say, we're going to optimize your launch angle so teams will take you higher, which always makes me want to just peel the skin off my body when I hear that. But you know what? That guy can, even with stuff I don't like in his swing, he hits. He can hit, and he showed me he can get to velocity. I saw him against Bryce Eldridge. And Eldridge was 91, 93, and Farmelo could get to the ball. He fouled a couple off, so he'd get something he could hit squarely. If you have things I don't like in the swing and you can still hit, I almost like you more because now you've shown me you've just got a real natural ability. You've got hand-eye coordination. You've got hand speed. You can hit. Great. And then maybe somebody loosens up the swing and he can drive the ball a little more effectively now that he's going to be with a pro organization.
We're sending this to Todd to make
make him feel a little
better. You guys are going to be best
He'll
friends
still
now.
be mad. Oh,
he lives mad.
No,
that's fine.
Todd's going to be on his deathbed. Oh, in my swing.
Armbar you. He'll armbar you.
Keith, when were you with the Blue? When were you with Tony LaCava at the Blue Jays and stuff?
I was there 02 to 06. He came in 03. He spent a year at the Marlins and then came to, I think it was Cleveland to the Marlins. That sound right? Or Marlins to Cleveland. I'm sorry. 1 year with Cleveland. Then he came to us, and he was there from 03 till now. Actually, still there.
So you were the one that screwed my minor league career up. I get it.
Yeah, totally. 100%.
I knew
Keith,
somebody was
that's
holding
why
me
Keith's
down.
on today. Just everyone, we're a player-host show. All the players can just air it out if they weren't the world's perfect prospect.
I don't have a problem
we'll
with
have
Keith.
Skenes on eventually, and he'll be like, yo, my fastball shape doesn't have the life, blah, blah, blah.
Keith, this is the first, Keith, you're actually the first person to come on that hasn't had beef with AJ. AJ's had beef.
Because that was before your time, Keith. That was before your time.
That's true.
You never put me in the top 100 prospects.
Yep.
You never put me in the top 100 prospects.
He's too young for you.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, Keith, it was awesome having you, dude. Enjoy the rest of the draft rounds. This was great.
Thank you. Yeah, let's do it again.
Yes, same here. Would love to have you back on. Appreciate you. You can follow all of Keith's work on The Athletic, and also you can check out his show, DVR and Law. It's part of the Athletic Podcast Network. And I will give the Twitter shout out as well. I just wanted to make sure I had it right. It's very easy, at Keith Law. Nice and simple. He got the name. John Smoltz is going to join us coming up in just a couple minutes. So we'll swing aside and show you a little action from the Home Run Derby as we get ready for it. Abreu, Frazier, and Stanton featured in this one. Check it out. We'll talk more Derby. And also, if you have questions for Smoltz, bring them to us in the YouTube chat.